I'm getting choked up here. Oh, he's doing this on purpose, obviously. I see now why everybody was like, you cannot miss this song. Like, dang. Okay, guys, we're back with some NF today, and this is actually the first time I've recorded since after the holidays. Well, we've got New Year's Eve coming up tomorrow. Today's the 30th. To break down any semblance of a fourth wall that exists here. Today's the 30th, which is actually my birthday. I decided I wanted to get some stuff done today for my birthday. One of those things being content creation, amongst many other things. I am so far behind. I'm not going to get into that. Not going to get into any of that. That's not why we're here today. We're here to listen to some NF, and today we're listening to "How Could You Leave Us?" Right? Okay. So this song, I'm expecting, like I've said with many NF songs, I'm expecting this one to be pretty heavy. Because like there's always some kind of emphasis I feel like for different songs. This one, the emphasis that has hit me as we've gone through this journey is as soon as I announced, and there might be a reason for this, maybe this isn't normally on the journey, but as soon as I announced that I had a list that I was going by and I wasn't going to hit on everything in the discography, all of a sudden the most requested NF song I've seen at all, like bar none, there has been no other song that has been more requested in the comments than "How Could You Leave Us?" Make sure you don't miss that one. Make sure you don't miss "How Could You Leave Us?" So I'm guessing either this is a really big one, or it's one that people don't normally cover in the journey, but you guys thought it was important for me to cover. And this one actually has been on my list from the beginning, whenever I kind of distilled everything down from the Fear video, as well as some of the early videos I did for the Mansion album, distilling all that down into what you guys recommended I should do for my journey through NF. This one has been on the list the entire time. So we're going to get into it. Not going to belabor the moment anymore. Let's listen to and watch the music video for NF, "How Could You Leave Us?" And I'm assuming we're going to be getting into, just based on the title and stuff he said in the past, I'm guessing we're getting into his relationship with his mother here.
How could you leave so unexpected? We waited for you, but you just left us. We needed you, I needed you. Yo, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills, but I do know what it's like to be a witness to kills. Mama told me she loved me, I'm thinking this isn't real. I think of you when I get a whiff of that cigarette smell, yeah. Welcome to the bottom of hell. They say pain is a prison, let me out of my cell. You say you proud of me, but you don't know me that well. Sit in my room, tears running down my face, and I yell into my pillowcases. Say you coming to get us, then call a minute later just to tell us you're not. I'm humiliated. I'm in a room with the parent that I don't barely know. Some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes. I don't get it, Mom.
Bam. Yeah, so obviously we are heavily getting into the relationship with his mother, and we're already hitting on so many things. Like we're talking about being a child and kind of the perspective you get on all of these things that aren't great things. You know, talking about every time I smell that cigarette smell, and I mean, you know, I'm not trying to tell people they're evil if they're smoking cigarettes, but at the same time, it's like that's not necessarily a positive thing. You know, you don't remember the smell of your mom's perfume. You're reminded of your mom when you smell cigarette smoke. And so like just even hitting on that, but obviously talking about, you know, I don't know. He says, I don't know what it's like to, feel the popping of pills, but I see the effects. I see what it wreaks on a person's life. So we're getting right into it with the trauma, with the experiences, things that a child should never have to deal with. You know, things that a child should never have to witness or deal with, or have to come to terms with, watching their own parent more or less in certain ways act more childish than the child. You know, the child is watching this knowing, maybe not, but possibly understanding that this is a bad thing, especially once that thing takes the mother away. And I do believe Again, I believe, if I'm getting my history right, I think we've talked about this in the past, that his mother actually did die from an overdose, not just from like related complications to drugs, literally died from an overdose. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't want to misrepresent the dead here, but yeah, let's jump right back into it, guys.
I barely know some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes. I don't get it, mom. Don't you want to watch your babies grow? I guess pills are more important. All you have to say is no. But you won't do it, will you? You gon' keep popping till them pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you. Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us?
Man, sorry, I don't mean to stop it again. I'm getting choked up here. Not because I relate, because, you know, this is not my experience at all, but whew, man, it's getting me worked up because, like, the older I've gotten, and I'm 36. Today's my birthday, 36. The more it struck me how blessed of a life I've lived. And I look at my own parents, and my parents aren't perfect. They have their flaws. We've had our issues, our friction over the years. But I mean, all things considered, I have really, really great parents. And I knew guys that grew up like this. And it was interesting getting into kind of late high school, early college. And it was only at that point, really, that I started to have my eyes really, really opened to other people and what they were going through. And I mean, obviously, you get some of that when you're younger too. It wasn't just like, it didn't hit me like a ton of bricks necessarily, but it's this realization as you get older, especially if you grew up, with a lot of blessings, a lot of people around you that really love you. And then you see someone coming from a situation like this where you don't, on the one hand, being pragmatic about it, you'd think that there would just be this anger. There'd just be this frustration and this rage. Like, how could you leave us? Why did you do this? But you can hear it here. There's still love there. There's still that you're still my mom. You did all this stuff. You left us. You made the wrong choices. You made terrible choices, obviously terrible choices. And that took you away from us. But there's still so much love that you can hear there amongst the just pain and the sadness. And that's something that, you know, as I got older, as I saw the people around me who did come from situations like that, it not only made me mournful for what they were going through, but it made me realize how much more, like, it made me realize what I had so much more in my parents. It made me so much more appreciative of my parents who I'm not going to say they never touched this stuff, but by the time I came around, by the time that, you know, I was in the picture, they were parents. And again, like I said, I know so many people who grew up that way that they didn't have parents living with them, even though they were technically their biological parents. They had people in that house that were more interested in their own satisfaction, their own gratification, their own bad choices than taking care of their children. And yeah, it's rough stuff.
I got this picture in my room and it kills me. But I don't need a picture of my mom, I need the real thing. Now a relationship is something we won't ever have. But why do I feel like I lost something that I never had? You should have been there when I graduated. Told me you love me and congratulations. Instead you left us at the window waiting. Where you at, mom? What you young to understand? Where you at, huh? Yeah, I know them drugs that got you held captive. I can see it in your eyes, they got your mind captured. Some say it's fun to get the high, but I am not laughing. And what you don't realize and what you're not grasping, that I was nothing but a kid who couldn't understand it. I ain't gonna say that I forgive you, cause it hasn't happened. I thought that maybe I'd feel better as time passes. If you really cared for me the way you acting.
Damn.
Why would
Okay.
you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us?
Man, yeah, and you hear you hear so many different sides of this. It just keeps it's a cycle, and I think he's doing this on purpose. Obviously, it's not just in the sense that it makes sense poetically within a song, but he's going back and forth from kind of these childish views to these adult views that, you know, just the simple cry of why would you leave us to then having the clarity say, yeah, I know them drugs got you held captive. You know, you go back and forth, you flip back and forth from this just raw sense of, I just needed a mom. I get that you were trapped. I get you were trapped in this and it held you captive. And I'm sure that in like, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but in the context of what he's saying here, you know, saying to his mom, I'm sure you had your struggles. You had your reasons why you felt you couldn't escape this prison that you were in. They held you captive. But at the end of the day, I'm just asking, why don't I have a mom? Man.
Our last conversation, you and I sat in the living room talking about my music, and I brought you something to listen to. You started crying, telling me this isn't you. A couple weeks later, guess you were singing a different tune. You took them pills for the last time, didn't you? They took you from us once, I guess they came back to finish you. Crying my eyes out in the studio is difficult. Music is the only place that I can go to speak to you. It took everything inside of me not to scream at your funeral. Sitting in my chair, that person talking was pitiful. I wish you were here, mama, but every time I picture you, all I feel is pain. I hate the way I remember you. They found you on the floor. I could tell you felt hollow. Gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. You gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. Don't know if you hear me or not, but if you're still watching, why? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us?
Dang.
How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Sometimes I think about sometimes I think about things like, you know, when I have kids and like, you won't be there, you know, you won't be there for any of that.
Yeah.
Get to see you again. Sometimes I wish I would have just called you. I wish I would have just picked up the phone.
Yeah.
You were here. I mean, you should have been there for us. You should have been here. The pills got you right. And pills got you right. I wish you were here.
Yeah. Man. Man, guys. Okay. So that was just nervous laughter right there. I'm like, the thought that came to mind was like, I see now why everybody was like, you cannot miss this song. Like, dang. And we even hear it like I was saying before, flitting back and forth between kind of the mature and image. I don't necessarily want to call it mature and the childish of, you know, saying, what was that last thing? Man, I'm so mixed up in all of the emotion here. I'm forgetting the words I was literally just thinking about. But you won't be there, you won't be. Oh yeah, yeah. Talking about having his own kids and how she won't be there for that. I mean, that's a very adult type of thought process about this. But then just going back into just, I wish you were here. It all just comes down to, I wish I had my mom. Man, that's a heavy one. That's a really heavy one, guys. And I don't know what more to really say about it than what I said throughout the song here. It's a love letter as much as it's a lament, as much as it's him just getting out the frustrations. It seems like he's playing triple duty here, at least, in laying out his feelings, laying out a lament for his loss. And it's a heavy one, guys. I don't know what else to say. That one hit me. I'm gonna have to listen to that one a couple more times. It's not gonna be. I know I like to say that certain songs make the playlist, not because this isn't a good song, but because I don't think I can take this song very often. I don't think this one's gonna make the playlist, just because, like, dang, how do you? Whew. There's certain songs like there's a song, Suicide by Ren, that I listen to not regularly. It's one of those songs that people don't like to listen to more than once or twice. I've heard it from a lot of people. They'll listen to it. It's a good song, but they won't listen to it again. From my personal perspective and context and history, it's a song I use as a little bit of a reminder every once in a while, of places that I've come from, places that I've been. And this is that kind of song, and not necessarily for me. I'm on the other side of this. I'm in that camp of, I want to listen to this song maybe once or twice, so I can really get the message, get everything he's saying here. And then, like, dang, I don't know if I want to listen to it again. That was rough. But I can tell he poured a lot of heart, a lot of soul into this. Just, it's all over it. Man. Okay. I think I am going to end it there, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to end just like I always do, with a little bit of prayer. Lord, thank you for NF and his willingness just to be so transparent with the people that call themselves his fans. Thank you for his story, as hard as it has been on him. Thank you for his story that he's now able to tell and connect with so many people who might be dealing with similar things, who might be struggling with similar things, and knowing that they're not alone out there. They're not alone in that fight, in that struggle, in that trauma, in those emotions, in that frustration that just eats away at them when they've gone through these things. Lord, I pray for those people. I pray for anybody who's listening to this right now, that if they're going through that kind of a trauma, whether they're on the front end or the back end of it, whether they're watching somebody slowly kill themselves with pills or drugs, or if there's somebody who's on the other side where they've watched somebody die from something like this. Lord, be with all of these people. Be with anybody who's been anywhere near anything like this. It's in your son's precious name I pray. Amen. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.